Now up until now, we hadn't seen the side to Unique that we saw in episode 4 Don't Sleep. He showed us how cold, ruthless, and unforgiving he is when he killed his own best friend, who he grew up with in the same block, and someone who he loved. You talk about you ain't a real killer till you kill someone you love. Well, Unique just showed us how much of a killer he is when he killed his own best friend Trez G. He showed us no mercy, and in some ways it reminded me of how Tommy used to torture his enemies before he killed them. Unique tortured Trez with a pair of pliers, ripping his ear off and then shooting him from point blank range, as he told him he loved him too. Cold shit from Unique, and this kill just epitomizes the era that we're watching with the timeline of raising Kanan. But is Unique the leader that can win a war against Raquel? Or has he made some few moves that shows his weak spots too? I'm gonna look at the bad and good when it comes to Unique's character, what we've seen from him so far and what we could expect from him for the rest of the season in season 1, and when, not if, when Kanan finds out that it was Davina who gave up the stash house. But of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related over the coming months. But let's talk all things Unique first and paint the picture of his character and the use of Davina, and then we're going to come to Kanan finding out about Davina giving up the stash house. But with Unique, we're going to refer back to his character description throughout this video because there are some things we've seen and some things we haven't seen, and it's good to refer back to this from time to time because it reminds us of the character traits and gives us a better insight into why he does some of the things he does. So Unique, he's undeniably the biggest drug kingpin in South Jamaica, Queens. Unique was handed the keys to the castle by his brother, who spent the rest of his life in prison. Unique is Rack's main rival for quest or domination of the streets. Handsome, hard, shrewd, he's the man in every way. Unique runs the blocks, negotiating for control of the neighborhood, and when there's an obstacle, he's tough but fair, until he isn't. If a rival crosses a line, Unique will retaliate to protect his own. So we know Unique is tough but fair, until he isn't, and we've seen it with Trez. Now during street and gang wars, it always involves two crews and some leaders going head to head, but as history has shown us in Power, that even two brothers who have grown up together from a very young age, where they've made it in the city together, can turn on each other. And a perfect example is Ghost and Tommy. They were two characters on a warpath and on a mission to put each other in a body bag around season 6 of Power, and especially after the death of Teresia and Angela. Now Unique and Trez G were another two characters, two brothers, where Unique had turned on Trez G after his stash was hit by the cops because he was high on the job. Unique threw the blame on his own best friend, telling him he's turned into a crackhead and he was getting high on his time. And by the time he shot him, even his two crew members were shocked and taken aback. But this showed that Unique doesn't trust anyone in his crew, and he told his crew that any one of them can end up like Trez, and showed us why he's undeniably the biggest drug kingpin in South Jamaica, Queens. He has power. His crew in the streets fear him. He puts fear into people and takes advantages of their weaknesses. So he told Raquel in episode 1 that Kanan was his weak spot, and this is the approach he took with Davina when he approached her, trying to get information he could from her about Kanan. He used a bit of intimidation, and he used the fact that her mom was a junkie and he has the money to send her to a rehabilitation camp, like he did with his cousin's partner Rudy. And Unique is someone who's tough but fair, until he isn't. He's shrewd, and he knew exactly which buttons to press when it came to getting information from Davina. We heard Unique say when she's trying to save her moms, she's not gonna lie. And Davina is someone who's going to put her moms ahead of Kanan, and Unique knows this now, and now he knows that Kanan is dating Davina. I really wouldn't be surprised if we see him go back to get some more information and use her again, because this is who Unique is. He's shrewd and he's fair. Just like his character description told us, he's giving something back to Davina in the sense that he's going to pay for her mom's rehabilitation, and it's a common theme in this episode that we saw with people accepting money and bribes, with Raquel bribing the landlord at the apartment block, with Gabriel accepting the money from Raquel at the bodega, and Davina accepting the money that was on offer from Unique to help her mom, and it shows that money does equal power. Well, in the case of this episode it did anyway, but this is where I want to come to Kanan and when he's going to find out about Davina giving up the stash house to Unique, and not if, when he finds out, because Kanan can't be this gullible as we move into next season. We all know from the trailer from episode 5 that Kanan is going to think it was Scrappy who was the one who gave up the stash house, but we all know better, and at some point Kanan will learn the truth as well. At some point Kanan will learn that Davina has been putting her mom ahead of him, and maybe it's after Davina gives some more information to Unique because, as I said before, Unique's found a key to Raquel's organization, and it's through Davina to Kanan, or maybe Kanan spots Davina talking to Unique. However Kanan finds out, he's definitely going to find out at some point this season, and there's going to be a decision to make. Davina's been putting her family ahead of Kanan and the Thomases, so is Kanan going to do the same? Does he have it in him to get rid of Davina like his mom was so ruthless in sacrificing D-Wiz? Now it's fair to say everybody would agree it's hard to see Kanan pulling the trigger right now on Davina, and this is why I ultimately think it will be Jukebox. But when could Kanan find out about Davina? I don't think it's going to happen next week because we'll see him get arrested after getting into a fight with Scrappy, and there's going to be a big twist to come apparently next week, which could literally be anything. We don't know what the twist is, so we're just going to have to wait and see. But coming back to Unique's character, this is the difference between Raquel and Unique. He doesn't have love for his boy Jerome the same way Rack has for Kanan, and this is the difference that Unique mentioned to Raquel in episode 1, where he said said to Raquel she has a connection with her son that he'll never feel for his son, and episode 4 is where we've really started to see Unique act on this, and I think we'll see him using Kanan to get to Raquel, especially after Raquel hits him back next week. But was hitting the stash house a good move by Unique? He has no connect at the minute because Dean's pressed the pause button on any re-ups, so he stole Rack's stash instead, effectively putting him in the driving seat again. But really, how long for? He has no connect and shit's too hot around him. He's even asked his crew to step on their product, even more so than they've already done, and this is just a short-term fix, and some of his crew members even speak back to him, but he's not having any of it. And I do feel he made some right moves along with some wrong moves in the last episode. He had to hit Raquel back, no doubt, but could he have hit Raquel's stash house in a better way than he did? Of course. When I was first watching this, I thought, why would you hit the stash house in broad daylight, and why would you just not have any more men on the lookout? Maybe he sensed the opportunity when Marvin left Kanan on his own, but leaving his boy Pee-wee to be killed by Marvin was a mistake, because now Marvin, Raquel and Lulu will know they were hit by Unique and his crew. And the first question is, would Unique's brother have pulled something like this? Because if we were to take it back to his character description, we know that Unique only took the reins of the organization because he was handed the keys by his brother before he was sentenced to life in prison. Raquel already mentioned that his brother would never have popped off shots like he did in episode 1, and it definitely seems like Unique is running shit differently, the same way Raquel is running shit differently after High Post was killed. And the second question is, would Unique's brother have sacrificed his own soldiers? Is Unique someone who will want revenge for Pee-wee's death, and will he come for revenge, or is he someone who will say Pee-wee knew the consequences when he signed up for this? If we were to take this back to his character description, he's someone that will retaliate to protect his own, so I think this is where we can expect Unique to retaliate after Marvin killed Pee-wee. So maybe both crews are going to be on the offense next week, and if they are on the offense, what's Unique's play going to be next? Because he's holding Raquel's stash at the minute, and she's definitely going to want to hit back and go on the offense now too and get her product back, because her crew will need feeding as well. So there's going to be a lot going on next week, and possibly both of them going on the offense, and we'll see a lot more aggression from Marvin next week, and not just with removing the tenants from these block of apartments, but in terms of hitting Unique back. And I do wonder where Lulu fits into all of this as well, because since episode 2 his mind does seem a little distant and not really in the game as it was before he killed D-Wiz, and you can really tell the death has affected him. So let's see how he plays this now after they've been hit by Unique. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section about what we've seen from Unique over the last episode, hitting Raquel in a stash house, his decision making, him being the leader, and the main question is, will Kanan find out about Davina telling Unique, and what will he do when he does find out? Drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, because next week is the mid-season episode and I really do expect them to bring a lot of heat. And I do have a Power Book 2 Ghost Season 2 update video with a few of the storylines coming this Friday, with a few new storylines that could be coming out in Season 2. So if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3, Power Book 2 Ghost Season 2 and Power Book 4 Force related, as well as BMF coming in September. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.